Rodrigo's future is turning into a real whirlwind in the European transfer market. The Real Madrid forward, an important figure in recent seasons, has now emerged as one of the most talked about names of the summer of 2025. It all began with the rumours surrounding Savinho, Girona's standout and a target for both Manchester City and Tottenham. Savinho's situation ended up placing Rodrigo on the radar of the English giants, especially since there is a willingness at Real Madrid to negotiate the Brazilian should a truly tempting offer arrive. And as always, Fabrizio Romano, the transfer specialist, has brought fresh information that has only fueled the flames of this saga. According to Romano, Manchester City remain fascinated by the idea of bringing Rodrigo into their squad, though they recognise that the deal would not be straightforward. He described the citizens' interest as a process of building, as it involves convincing the player, adjusting to his extremely high wages, and still dealing with a price tag of more than €100 million. In other words, it is not the sort of negotiation solved at the snap of a finger. Meanwhile, Liverpool, now under the command of Arne Slot, are keeping a close eye on proceedings. Although Romano did not directly mention the Reds in his analysis, it is impossible to ignore the possibility of the Anfield club entering the race, especially given their clear need to strengthen the attack after this summer's departures. It is worth remembering that Liverpool have already shown in this window that they are not afraid of big figures. The club tabled a bid of more than £110 million for Alexander Isak, an offer that made it clear they are prepared to invest heavily to reinforce their forward line. Even though the negotiations with the Swede dragged on, the message was obvious: money is not an obstacle. In addition, the recent sale of Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich for £65.5 million has further boosted the Reds' coffers. In other words, if Real Madrid are truly open to negotiating for Rodrigo, there is unlikely to be a financial barrier stopping Liverpool from entering the battle. But there is a factor that goes beyond money: sporting strategy. Arne Slot took charge of Liverpool with the mission of refreshing the squad without losing its competitive edge. And within this context, there is a declared commitment to the development of young talents, such as 16-year-old prodigy Rio Nginghu Moha. The club see a brilliant future in the youngster and do not want his progress to be blocked by signings that leave him without opportunities. This is the great dilemma surrounding Rodrigo. On one hand, he would be an elite reinforcement, ready to claim a starting spot immediately. On the other, his arrival could slow down the growth of a gem Liverpool plan to polish carefully. Another intriguing element in this equation is the Brazilian's versatility. Rodrigo can operate across the front line, but he has made it clear in interviews that he prefers to play on the left. That happens to be exactly the area of the pitch where Cody Gakpo is beginning to establish himself, which raises the question, would there really be room for everyone, or would Slot need to reorganise his attack to accommodate the pieces? On one hand, the Dutch manager would gain depth and instant quality. On the other, he could find himself facing a tactical puzzle to keep everyone content. At Real Madrid, the situation is also under close scrutiny. With a squad brimming with stars and new signings arriving, Florentino Perez does not rule out letting Rodrigo go if an irresistible offer appears. The Madrid hierarchy know this is the moment when they can command a very high fee for the player, and that could be reinvested in other areas of the squad. For Liverpool, it would be a golden opportunity to bring in someone already established at the very highest European level, and at the same time send a clear message to the market. The Arne Slot era will not be marked by timid transitions, but by ambition and boldness.
What makes this saga even more compelling is how every detail seems interlinked. Savinho's future influences Rodrigo's could reshape Gakpo's plans, and Liverpool's decisions may directly affect the space available for Rio Numaha's rise. It is like a domino effect, where a single piece falling in Manchester could alter the course of the team at Anfield. In this scenario, Red supporters are in a frenzy, speculating about what might happen should Rodrigo land at Anfield Road. The prospect of seeing Salah, Gakpo, Nunez and Rodrigo in the same squad is the kind of vision that makes any European football fan stop and imagine. And if there is one thing Liverpool have made clear in this window, it is that they are prepared to be protagonists. The market is far from closed, and with uncertainty surrounding Isak, the possibility of a plan B with Rodrigo's face cannot be dismissed. If the Reds do indeed decide to push forward, it would be one of the biggest deals in their history, and perhaps the most defining of the Arne Slot era. After all, this would not simply be about reinforcing a squad, but about completely raising the level of the attack and piling even more pressure on rivals such as Manchester City and Real Madrid. For now, all that exists is expectation, plenty of behind-the-scenes discussions, and one certainty: Rodrigo is at the heart of one of the biggest stories of this transfer window. The outcome is still uncertain, but with every new development, the plot gathers more drama and intrigue. Liverpool have the money, the need, and the sporting project. The question is whether they will also have the courage to take the decisive step. Should that happen, the fans may be about to witness one of the most electrifying moments of recent years in the transfer market.
If the drama surrounding Rodrigo had already set Liverpool's attacking plans ablaze with speculation, the latest twist in the market makes it clear that Arne Slot and the board are not here to play games. While the Reds closely monitor Real Madrid and Manchester City's manoeuvres involving the Brazilian, an unexpected opportunity has emerged with real force. Malik Fafana, Lyon's Belgian starlet, has just confirmed he is ready to make the leap to Anfield. And the most curious part? Unlike the blockbuster deal for Rodrigo, Fafana's cost is significantly more accessible, just €40 million, a figure that makes the youngster an almost irresistible target. The timing of this revelation could not be more perfect. After all, Liverpool have lost 3 senior forwards during this window and so far have only managed to bring in Hugo Ekitike as a replacement. The drawn-out saga with Alexander Isak continues, consuming patience and complicating negotiations. Meanwhile, Slot is insistent on reinforcing his forward line with versatile players, those capable of operating across several attacking roles while also adapting to his style of play. That is exactly where Fafana fits like a glove. Young, skillful, able to play on both flanks and with experience as a central striker at Belgium's youth levels. At 20 years old, Fafana represents an investment for the future, yet he is already showing signs of maturity that impress many. In his most recent outing for Lyon, he made a point of delivering a clear statement about his readiness to step up. He scored a goal that caught the eye across Europe, bursting through midfield, weaving past 2 defenders with sharp dribbles, and finishing clinically in a move that felt straight out of Liverpool's playbook. Beyond his raw talent, he carries the confidence of someone who knows he is ready to take on a new challenge. And in this case, that challenge is called the Premier League. For Liverpool, the equation is simple. Here is a young player with evident ability, an affordable price tag, and the potential to grow under Slot's guidance. Unlike Rodrigo, whose fee would exceed €100 million and demand a fierce battle with billionaire clubs, Fafana presents himself as a viable strategic option. What's more, his arrival would not block the path of Rion Gumoha, the 16-year-old prospect the club want to nurture carefully. On the contrary, Fafana could serve as the perfect bridge between the experience of the starters and the youth of the teenager, providing Slot with rotation and depth that the squad currently lack. The big question mark over Fafana has always been whether he can translate talent into numbers. Criticism about his output in goals and assists has followed him since his youth days, but this season he has begun to show he can indeed be decisive. With a goal and an assist in just 2 matches, the Belgian forward has made it clear that he is sharp, evolving at the right time, and willing to take responsibility. It is exactly the sort of response decision-makers at clubs like Liverpool love to see before investing. At Anfield, the message is already familiar. Reinforcements are necessary to compete on all fronts. And while Rodrigo represents the chance to bring in a proven star, Fafana could be the piece that balances quality, future, and budget. Arne Slot, who since his arrival has preached the virtues of a dynamic, youthful, and flexible side, would have in the Belgian a player mouldable to his ideas. Imagine a front line with Salah, Gakpo, Nunes, Ekitike, and Fafana. Youth, pace, and unpredictability combined into one striking force. The pressure from the fans also plays its part. After watching rivals such as Manchester City and Arsenal move aggressively in the market, Red supporters expect a response in kind. Fafana, with his energy and vibrant style, could provide that statement signing, showing that Liverpool are not only competing for established names, but are also betting on the future stars of European football. If there had been any doubt about the Belgian's future, the player himself has dispelled it with his recent performances and declarations. He is ready, and Liverpool have everything in their hands. Now it is up to the board to decide whether to pull the trigger and turn speculation into reality. After all, in such a competitive market, opportunities like this do not come knocking twice. And if Rodrigo still represents a distant dream, Malik Fafana appears as an immediate and intelligent solution. The question remains, is Arne Slot on the verge of gaining yet another lethal weapon for his attack? The answer could come at any moment, and it promises to stir up an already historic transfer window for Liverpool even further.